Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm at my other daughter's again, where there is a tiny baby, and I got work to do. So the plants are doing great. Really amazed. Everything that I planted just does. Yes, and it's wonderful. So I'm very excited about that. When everything is a little bit bigger and starts to have fruit, I will show you guys around out there too. Okay? Yes. Okay, so we are in. I got to get going here. We are in the book of Nehemiah 12. Priests and Levites who returned under Zerubbabel and Yeshua. There are, I just wanted to say something again. I was like, hold your tongue for a moment. These are the priests and the Levites who came back with Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Yeshua. Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, well, there you go. Amariah, Maluch, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Meramot, Edo, Ginetoi, Abijah, Mijamin, Madiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, and Yoarib, Yediah, Salu, Amok, Hilkiah, Yediah. These were the heads of the priests and their kinsmen in the days of Yeshua. Now, if there were so many more, why was Ezra just the one that was, again, they just picked one? What were the other ones all doing? Wouldn't it have been something if they all could have just united, and kind of be that force huh, behind God's laws? Right? Yeah, the book of laws. That would have been really something. But Ezra was the one kind of pulled out to, okay, be the leading force. One person, and obviously it created some problems. I know. Is it possible for people to actually just say, okay, let's find the common denominators and that we all have, which in their case should have been whom, and then work from there. Then we've got this book of laws. Okay, let's work from there. Right? We still have the same. It's the same thing now. Okay. Oh, of course that only applies to the people who believe actually in heavenly parent. Yes, that's true. But anyway, so many more of them, and it was just Ezra in a way. Sounds like, do people really need to have a leader in anything? They can't just say, well, let's just do all this together. We're all leaders. We're either all just doing and assigned a job, or we're all the same. How about being all? What if they were okay? We're all leaders now. Okay, just saying. Who came up with all this? As I said, it's a pyramid scheme, and I don't like them. The Levites were Yeshua, Binui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Jidah, Mattaniah. This last, with his brothers, was in charge of the songs of praise, while Bukiah and Uno, their colleagues, formed the alternate choir to theirs. Okay, all right. Like I said, uh, I find it interesting. I wonder if the separation of church and state happened due to the fact that in the Bible here, when anything has to do with God's laws, right? Heavenly Parents' laws, the Ten Commandments, the sacrifices of whatever, the temple, it all seems to be just under one group, the Levites and the priests, right? And then the kings who have their say in it and stuff. And then the people were literally just, okay, well, we need them to supply things, this, and that. I get it. But I feel like in my own life, and I'm sure it was the same then as it is now, is that having parents should be everywhere. You can't, things don't make sense unless We acknowledge the Creator in everything. And here it's always just, it stays very firm. We get to hear a lot about the priests this continuously, way more than anything else. Yes? Well, just saying. Genealogical list of high priests. Well, there you go. There's more. Yeshua fathered Joachim. Joachim fathered Eliashib. Eliashib fathered Joiada. Joiada fathered Johanan. And Johanan fathered Yadua. Okay. Great to know all the names. What were they actually doing? Priests and Levites in the time of the high priest Joachim. In the days of Joachim, the heads of the priestly families were family of Seraiah. Here we go again. Meriah of Jeremiah, Hananiah of Ezra, Meshullam. Oh, that's interesting. Remember, Meshullam was one that said, no, you can't just send these wives and kids away. They were against it. Here it looks like that was a close family member to Ezra. Maybe that's why he did. Okay. Of Amariah, Yehohanan; of Maluch, Jonathan; of Shebaniah, Yosef; of Harim, Adna; of Merimoth, Helkai; of Edo, Zechariah; of Ginnethon, Meshullam; of Abijah, Zikri. Oh, there's another Meshullam. Lots of Meshullams. Of Minjamin; of Kach. I'm getting tired of reading these names. It was fun for a while, but now it's just like, okay, what else is there? Moadiah, Piltai; of Bilgah, Shamuah; of Shemaiah, Jehonathan; and of Yoarib, Mattanai; of Yediah, Utzi; of Salai, Kalai; of Amok, Aber; of Hilkiah, Hashabiah; of Yediah, Nethanel. In the time of Eliashib, Joiada, Johanan, and Yadua, the heads of the families of priests, were registered in the book of Chronicles up to the reign of Darius the Persian. The Levites, who were heads of families, were registered in the book of Chronicles up to the time of Johanan, grandson of Eliashib. The heads of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, Yeshua, Binui, Kadmiel, while their brothers, who formed an alternate choir for the hymns of praise and thanksgiving, as David, man of God, had prescribed section corresponding to section, where Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, and Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, Akub were the gatekeepers. How many words are there with 2 Ks in succession? There probably are some. Guarding the stores at the gates. These lived in the days of Joachim, son of Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, and in the days of Nehemiah, the governor, and of Ezra, the priest scribe. All right, maybe Ezra is mentioned as a special book in here because he was the scribe. He wrote it all down, right? But it makes it kind of sound as if he also was the leader of, kind of the whole thing on getting back into the God's laws and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I get it. Ugh, dear me. Just keep going. Ooh, there's a part in here called A Golden Age. The dedication of the wall of Jerusalem. Whew. At the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, the Levites were sent for, wherever they lived, to come to Jerusalem and joyfully perform the dedication with hymns of thanksgiving and songs to accompaniment of cymbals, lyres, and harps, according to the Levitical singers assembled from the district round Jerusalem, from the villages of Netophathites, from Beth Gilgal, and from their farms at Geba and Atzmavet. For the singers had built themselves villages all around Jerusalem. Huh? That's an odd one. Why? When the priests and Levites had purified themselves, they then purified the people, the gates, and the wall. I then made the leaders of Judah come on to the top of the wall and appointed 2 large choirs, One made its way along the top of the wall to the right towards the dung gate, bringing up the rear where Hoshea and half of the leaders of Judah, and also Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, and Jeremiah of the priests with trumpets, then Zechariah, son of Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micaiah, son of Sakur, son of Asaph, with his kinsmen Shemaiah, Azarel, Milalai, Gilalai, Maai, Nethanel, Judah, Hanani, with the musical instruments of David, men of God. The scribe Ezra walked at their head. At the fountain gate they went straight on up the steps of the city of David, along the top of the rampart to the stairway of the wall above the palace of David, as far as the water gate on the east. Now, shouldn't this all be in Ezra? We're in Nehemiah, aren't we? Oh, it's just because Nehemiah actually rebuilt all the walls, this and that, or was the leader of that. So now, okay, all right. Just read the same thing over again. The other choir made its way to the left. I and half the leaders of the people followed them along the top of the wall from the tower of the furnaces in the broad wall, from the Ephraim gate, the fish gate, the tower of Hananel, and the tower of the 100 as far as the sheep gate, and they came to a halt at the prison gate. The two choirs then took their places in the temple of God, but I had half the magistrates with me, as well as the priests Eliakim, Maazeiah, Miniamin, Micaiah, Elionai, Zechariah, Hananiah, with the trumpets, and Maaseiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Utzi, Yehohanan, Malkijah, Alam, and Ezer. The singers sang loudly under the direction of Yesariah. There were great sacrifices offered that day, and the people rejoiced, God having given them good cause for rejoicing. The women and children rejoiced too, and the joy of Jerusalem could be heard from far away. Oh, okay. All right, yeah, sure. Why not have a little celebration while that's all happened? So let's just keep reading. A golden age. From the rooms intended for the treasures, contributions, first fruits, and tithes, supervisors were then appointed whose business it was to collect in them those portions from the town lands awarded by the law to the priests and Levites. For Judah rejoiced in the officiating priests and Levites. Yeah, they really did. Since they, with the singers and gatekeepers, performed the liturgy for their God and the rites of purification as ordained by David and his son Solomon. It's amazing on how they seem to be thinking that that's what God wants. God wants to be, okay, just saying, yes? That's going to please God. If he's being recognized through singing and sacrifices and all that, you think that's what it is? Is that kind of what? I'm not sure. Well, no, I know that's not it. But why did they come to the conclusion to do so? It won't say. For from ancient times, from the days of David and Asaph, they had been the leaders in rendering hymns of praise and thanksgiving to God. In the days of Zerubbabel and Nehemiah, all Israel supplied regular daily portions for the singers and gatekeepers, and gave the dedication contributions to the Levites, and the Levites gave the dedication contributions to the Aaronites. Okay, so what suddenly has the job? This is what I'm getting. Maybe other people are getting other things, and maybe as we do go through more reading, it will become more clear. But as of right now, what I'm getting is that the job that the priests and the Levites, what I understood, what God had told Moses and Aaron on what their job is to make sure that the Levites, that they were distributed, that tribe was distributed, right, all through the other tribes, to make sure that the remembrance of, yes, first of all, no doubt the story of leaving Egypt is a big story. Exodus, right? Movies, books, have all been made of that story, right? Told to children because of the miracles that happened through the desert, isn't it? And it seems to me that in the way that God had been guiding the people, Heavenly Parent had been guiding the people through his people, Israel, through the desert, trying to teach them, getting them away from all the false idols, this, that, beliefs, this, that, the partying as well, right? Yes. Isn't that also all the partying, the singing, the choirs, this, that, and the right offerings to the first, even the first fruit is not an altar to, isn't that an idol, isn't that idol worshiping as well? Isn't that exactly what in other religions where there is not the one God but more than one, isn't that exactly what this, oh, if we sacrifice them, then right, yes. But as far as I remember, reading Exodus and then several other chapters of whatever came after, uh, in a way that God was trying to teach Moses and Aaron on how to guide the people and on how he was guiding them as well, that's not the case. Well, what about the Ark of the Covenant? That was the visible give and take between God and the people. That's what that was supposed to be. So, and again, the sharing, the give and take, again, of sharing and having and making God a part of that. But this is becoming, sounds to me more like worship now, not give and take between Heavenly Parent and his people, his children. Yeah. Are you hearing what I'm trying to say on what the difference is there? Anyway, so now instead of the Levites and the priests going out, teaching the people, keeping them, okay, that's the kind of relationship we need with our Heavenly Parent, with God, right? The guide, right? Is that we find to that heart, that God can find to their heart, and the Israelites can find to God's heart. And then really, truly, oh my gosh, life is amazing. But they keep lamenting towards a life that they had because the guidance isn't there, really, when it comes down to it, to spiritually awaken the Israelites to something much greater. Yes, see? Yes. Which is, it's difficult to do even today. Yet, here, it all has become what? It's becoming worship. Worship towards something that they think that if they do that, things will be good. But is the understanding there on what the relationship between the creator of everything and his children is supposed to be like? I'm not finding that here. I'm finding the opposite. It's just now a little bit turned around, right? Yes? Yeah? Okay. Well, anyway, that's all I have to share today. I gotta go. This was the end of 12. Yes, I like to sing. I do. Right? Yes, love to sing in church. Yes, yeah. How often do you all people sing a hymn, a church song, outside of church? Ah, okay, gotcha. My when I was taking care of the children yesterday, uh, one of the boys brought up Adam and Eve, and then another person says, "Well, Adam and Eve? Who's Adam and Eve?" And I'm going, "You know who Adam and Eve are." So I explained to them, Well, then the other boy came back again, one of the boys, and it was an interesting. I'm not going to get too much into it, but it was an interesting give and take that they had. And I listened for a moment, and I could tell, okay, the confusion just started, right? On the time, when Adam and Eve were created, this and that. So I said, okay, boys, here it is. And I explained to them, right, the 6 days of creation on how they run alongside the 6 periods of the evolutionary periods. And, or the evolutionary reality. It's not a theory. Evolution is a reality. Yes, and the 6 days of creation are a reality. Yes, yeah. 6 days of creation came before the science of the evolutionary periods, by the way. So that should tell us something. Yes? Well, in any case, so it was interesting. The boys were really interested. I said, so Crossy, it has to do, it's not about all the physical, it has to do with the spirit. I said, yes. It's just like people being, when you're asleep for hours and hours and hours and hours, and eventually you wake up. Right? Anyway, it was interesting to talk to them about that, and they brought it up, right? So you see how God even works there? Heavenly Parent works. Guides, in a way, there are things that already in children this young, under the age of 10, they're interested, they're hearing, right? Then they talk about it, yes? And then because we have greater knowledge, hopefully you do, then you can truly teach. And yeah, you got to be well versed to do so. You really do. Yes, to not to create greater confusion. Yes, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, that's all I have to say today. It's been interesting. We made it through the first week, and it was great. Nobody wanted to part yesterday. 2 days? We're not going to see each other for 2 days? I said, yeah, but we'll be back on Monday. We'll all be back together on Monday. Yay! And hopefully it'll get hot enough so we can really blow up that pool. These children are all water rats. Yes, they are. Spent a lot of time down by the creek. Could not believe on how my older granddaughter was with them, and they went over to another part, and I couldn't see them, which was fine. I mean, I knew they were fine. It's not deep or anything. And both my other grandchildren came back, hair wet, clothes wet, everything. I was like, "What happened to you guys?" Yeah, I'm going okay. So anyway, so that's it. Ah. Another wonderful day. I got some work to do to reorganize this room. If I have to be in this room until, uh, yeah, I need, I like, I like, I like what I like, which is a nice environment. Yes, organized environment. I don't do well with people trying to throw confusion at me. I usually have that figured out really quickly. Well, anyway, got to go. I got to go, right? Yes? I don't know what else you want me to say. This is, again, one of those times where a reminder, once again, and it's probably going to be something I have to keep reminding people of, uh, regardless on where anyone is, with non-belief, with belief, whatever belief, study the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments, though they are in simple form and can be followed in a simple way, they have greater meanings too. They Every sentence goes much deeper into not just keeping a particular commandment, keeping all the commandments, but when one strays from doing so, often one isn't the only one involved. Often a person straying from one of Heavenly Parent's commandments, there are many more people involved who are straying as well. Interesting? Yes. Well, anyway, so there it is. You're welcome. Study them. What does it really mean? What do they really mean? Yeah? And is it just the people who are visibly, in a way, breaking the commandments that are then accruing a sin? Or is it oftentimes a collective sin? It becomes a collective sin that's visible within one person. Yeah, something to think about. Okay, I mentioned it. May Heavenly Parent bless and protect you and brace you with His love. And I will talk to y'all tomorrow.